today we have status as usual. We'll see topics. We have topics, demos. We'll have many demos. So we'll have please correct me with your first names. Siegeman, how do I pronounce it?
The name is Simon.
Simon. Okay, thank you. We are hear you very low, so if you can, I don't know, do something with your microphone, increase the sensibility or something. So we have Simon and Marcos, who will should show us some themes. They made many themes, and they are on GitHub, which is awesome. We should have well, James said he would. So James on what's it called, WebHooks. WebHooks. And we have Michael on social. I assume so. Michael, am I mistaken? I think you said you would. Correct. And I will make all of you presenters also for when I need to give you access to it. And Marcos, I don't know if you want to show. Okay, any other demo?
I think only I will use my PC to do the demo.
Okay.
But Marcos is with me here.
That's good. And everyone can talk at the same time. That's fine. That's open discussions. So, and myself about Decoupled CMS, feedback from what we did on Friday. Topics, we'll see. Oh yes, I have, well, topics, logins, but not HTTPS. Just for Bertrand. That's different. I have some things I want to talk about, and that will be it so far. Good. So status first. So for those who are not used to join a meeting, watch the meeting, we start with the status to see what happened in the repos during the past week. Starting with Orchard 1. And I think the only thing was from Benedek, who worked on dynamic compilation again, which, and Zoltan did some things. So 7 days, making possible. So there is a branch dev, making possible to log in via OpenID, even if the site's frontend is completely locked down for anonymous users. Okay. Always accessible to have the challenge. Okay, good. Missing T-call, makes sense. Apparently he's working on something related to authentication, or at least to have backend service only. Fixing exception in OpenID during background tasks. And the branch, fixing that the OpenID user shape template has hidden the password change for local users to a new service. Is local user. Okay, I'd like to see what they are doing with that. Gabor, if you can ask them, or if you know, to make a demo. You could do a demo, Gabor. Extension, so this is then Benedict going back on this issue to make C# in this case 7.3 to work with dynamic compilation and to use the new code dump provider for the views. And this is what is blocking 1.10.3. So once it's done, Benedek is free to start releasing 1.10.3. That was the idea. And that's it on Orchard 1, Orchard core. Fetching some of the no, we won't see. Yeah, some of the work. No, maybe not. We'll see. 7 days. What do we have? Dev branch. 7 days, 7 days. Where is the dev branch? Dev branch is, I want to see the dev branch. This one here, the third. Okay, the third one. So let me find everything. This is merge back to branches. Let the application act in a super theme for shape rendering. This is on John Terry's branch. I don't know which one. Which branch is that? No branch, no tag. App theme. I think it has been merged. We'll see. This is also John Terry is working on many branches at the same time, and that's an issue here because I'm lost. Better place to revert to initial steps if setup fails. That's something we merged, so we'll see what we merged already. Update admin controller. I need to filter. We don't have anything here. That's weird. Okay, maybe that's weird. Maybe my filter doesn't work. I will go back in time with the dev branch just to see what has been merged already. So fix return URL not working on tenants after saved and continue. Some URLs were wrong, so it's fixed by Matthias. Let the application acting as a super theme for shapes rendering. So the idea is that the application itself, when you have views inside your application in the web app, the web project, then it will behave like a theme, meaning it will override any shapes from themes and from other modules. So if you want to do customizations, you can do them at the application level and not the theme level. Use constants for index key. So the idea is that when we index something, it's just created constant for that and in the correct project, so it can be reused across the project that the keys are related to. This one, add FootScript resources to the agency layout. This is just to be able to inject custom scripts in the agency, okay, using the resource manager, the FootScript. Implement workflows, recipe and deployment step by CMand. So we have new deployment steps and recipe steps for workflow definitions, workflow types we call them. And you can see, for instance, type step to import a workflow type and export sources to be able, where is that? Step driver, I think that's the one. Deployment source, yes. To export a workflow again, and it's listing all the workflows, and you can check which one you want. Or is it just every single of them? Let me check. Edit all workflow types, and maybe there are 2 of them. No, it's just exporting all the workflow types. The pattern I'd like to see more often is when we do these deployment steps. So for instance, with the content type, we have 2 deployment sources. We have the all content types and content types, where you can select which ones we want. I think we should have 1 step called content types, and with 1 checkbox which states all the content types, or a list of checkboxes that we select which ones we want. This way, when we checked all of them, even if there are new ones, they will be exported. And if you just want a set of them, we can just uncheck all of them and check the ones we want. That will be better, just to have 1 step to do that. Even if it results in different kinds of recipe step in the end, but for the deployment plans, it's easier to manage. So in this case, ideally, we should have a checkbox for all of them, all workflow types, and then list all the workflow types if we just want to export single ones. So workflow export and import in this case, keeping on the dev branch, update admin controller to fix how the recipe names are displayed. Then we have update dependencies at props with which fixes an issue that is in image sharp and the web the .web package, and the issue is that the images are not resized without it. I had the issue on Friday when I did a demo. Better place to revert to initial state of setup fails. So the idea is that when the setup fails, you can go back on the setup screen and restart the tenant. It doesn't save it as a wrong state that will prevent you from resetting a bit or something like that, rerunning the setup. And that's it for these branches, and we have many branches going on. This one has been merged, should be deleted. Static files, I will explain that. Well, the idea is that we need to be able to serve static files dynamically, meaning if new files are created, we should serve them. Right now they are served from the precompiled assemblies only, embedded resources, so we can't change them, and we should be able to do that even in prod. For static files at least. App theme, this is a change we merged and we talked about. This one I don't know. Yes, the FootScript. Data protection, there is some change so far because there was an issue about the fact that the folder where the keys are stored is not writable in some scenarios. I'm not sure there is anything to do, but at least to log the issue so that people know what's happening, that they can't log in because the data protection API cannot save the keys. We need that because we save the keys in the app data folder so that every tenant has custom set of keys to prevent secrets from leaking from one tenant to the other. Jasmine is working still on the data on the text field editors. I will check that because I think now he did what had to be done. We'll see on Thursday for triage. Jean-Thierry has started to work on part editor settings. The same thing as that we need for fields, so that any type of field can have multiple kinds of editors which are themselves configurable. He did that for the parts. This way, when we select a part like HTML body part, we'll be able to select different editors for the HTML, like different WYSIWYG editors, but also be able to configure these editors. So in the case of the HTML body part, and let's say we select the WYSIWYG, or let's say we created what's it called, the CK editor, WYSIWYG editor for HTML body, then you could have settings for the editor per content type. Let's say, for instance, we could select which plugins we want for these editors, or which toolbar we want, custom behavior, something we could not do in Orchard 1. So he did that, and I need to review it, and it should be ready. It's not hard to do actually, because we worked with Jasmine and Jean-Thierry on the fields one, so we just had to replicate the same pattern. I see Sipke has been working on workflow HTTP request SAS token lifetime. He fixed a bug with the lifetime of the SAS tokens, apparently to make them configurable. The issue was that for the forms, when you generated a workflow endpoint so that the form can be submitted, the default and non-configurable lifetime of the SAS token which was generated was too limited. So now you can configure it. Workflow counting issues. Yeah, there is an issue with localization, I think, in this case. Antoine updating font awesome to newest version. This will be a demo today, related to the demo today, and Matthias is back half an hour ago to the admin content tree, which he showed us last week, and it's well, he showed the progress on that, and we gave some feedback also. It was great. Good, that's the status. Questions so far? Okay, demos. demos. Let's do them in order. Built with .NET. Okay, I will look at it later. I will add that to the topics, and maybe also yeah, that. And I said we'll go in the order, and the order is Simon and Marcos. You can start sharing if you want. You should have a button, share your screen, and it will work. So the idea is that Simon and Marcos will explain who they are and what they are working on. They made some themes, and I asked them to give us some feedback, show us the themes they made, and give us some feedback about how they made them.
Okay, thank you. I'm Simon. I work together with Marcos in a small web and design company in Portugal. We are lucky to be able to do some research to, let's say, the next technology stack or framework or application we're going to use for our websites. We build company websites, also commerce sites. So we were actually looking at Orchard Core, and we thought, well, what the best way to learn is, I guess, just to dive in. And we're now actually almost full-time the past weeks learning and developing themes or templates. And we released 2 as NuGet packages, and they're also available on GitHub. And yeah, I can show.
Yep.
Yes?
Yeah, sure. So I see that here you made a web app and you are using the NuGet packages only. That's good. That's a good demo.
Yeah, this is one that I use actually one of the sources. I reference directly the
source, okay.
theme, we called it.
But the rest is from NuGet package.
The rest is a NuGet package. We use the dev
good
preview. So we tested it. It works. So I guess I will just show how people can experience this package. We already have around 300 downloads, so
wow,
popular.
And I didn't do that. It's not me, and it's not in a CI, right? Because if it's in a CI, okay, that's good. And you didn't even communicate on that. I mean, apart from the Gitter chat, I think you didn't. I didn't see any news.
No, we didn't announce it anywhere else. So
yeah, it's great.
Also, yeah. So I will just do something with an empty tenant or an empty instance.
Okay.
It comes up nicely. And well, I'll do this hopefully. I don't have the fastest machine, but
you don't need a fast machine because Orchard Core is fast. It's kind of slow, actually, in this case. Okay.
So this is one of the Start Bootstrap themes that
good.
and Yeah, I think we even made a recent commit that all the content is accessible in the admin. Nothing is hard coded anymore. We used Liquid. Yeah, it's not so complicated.
So what kind of content do you have on the admin? Just one content type with the landing page, or?
I think what we also tried to do is it was actually started with that experiment or that thought that we took the theming, let's say, literally, where we want, let's say, inspired by even the Shopify's of this world.
We almost cannot hear you. I'm not sure if I'm the only one, but sometimes you are super low volume.
Yeah, it's my Dell laptop. It always had this problem. I'll try to speak a bit louder.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, you need a microphone. It's even better. You see, I'm not the only one. Okay.
So we wanted to try to have like a common model where we can have a switch between teams, let's say. So the other theme we did is the New Age theme, but we already discovered that we wanted, going from a landing page to a multiple site page. We already had a difference in the let's say the menu definition. So the experiment didn't completely succeed, but at least it was a very good learning experience, and it's hopefully a nice example for people to start learning this.
My thought on that is, if you want to be able to switch theme, then you should not start from themes and try to adapt the content types, but start from content types, content management, and then try to make themes around these types, because that's the common denominator. You need to have the same content items if you want to be able to switch themes. In this case, you just take themes from the Start Bootstrap, which means they might not match directly, so it will be hard to do that. That's better to say, okay, we have this kind of content items, like blog post, and with this kind of metadata on the blog post, and then, okay, we can make different themes from this kind of content model. That's the idea.
Yeah. So, well, we just defined some types and the properties we needed.
Yeah, that's good. So here in this case, you have the home. Okay, it's a homepage content type. Interesting. Okay.
We have this is about us, and well, like you said, we have also a homepage type. Product, so you could say.
Okay, maybe you were saying something, but we didn't hear anything.
I'm really sorry for that.
Maybe not just the microphone. Maybe it was also the internet connection that lagged at some point.
That could be.
Can you show us the edition of the homepage just to see how it looks like compared to the agency?
Sorry, the what?
The edition of the homepage, when you go edit the homepage, how it looks like?
Yes, sure.
Because yeah, there are content types. The question is how they are linked together.
So the homepage. It's a homepage.
Yeah, we just see the content types right now. That's why I'm thinking the internet connection is not that fast.
Must be. Do you hear me at the moment?
Now, yes, we heard. Do you hear me at the moment? But we don't see anything. We just see the content types. I don't know if you. I don't think yet it's working anymore. Oh, now we can see parts now.
It's a bit delay, I guess.
Great delay.
Yeah.
Oh, now it's going back. Okay, now we can see the home page, and I see fresh coffee, our promise, products. So there are 2 products. Oh, this is a bag of products, it looks like, because I can see add item.
Correct. Yes.
Then I have title.
You could add another product.
And yeah, you can. Usually, well, that's what I do. I don't know for everyone. I usually put the title at the top of the list. So this is something you can also change in the recipe, the position of the part inside the content type.
I can maybe show a little bit for people, but of course it's available in the repo, so they can see how we did things. For instance, also the homepage.
Yeah, you give in the link. I will add them to the notes.
Yeah.
And so you made this one. You made some other themes, right?
Yes, we made also the New Age theme, also available in NuGet.
So what I will do is I will just share on my screen and share the page. So you said themes, because I assume they are also New Age. So you showed right now, what's his name? You showed this one, business casual, okay, and live preview and about page, it's a custom page, products, okay, and there is a store, and these are different pages. So this is interesting. And the home page, what does the home page have? It doesn't have products. Okay, so what you are showing were the products page. Okay. In the case of the products page, I'm not sure it should be a custom content type. Maybe it could be just product content type and not have a list of products, because there is no more data than that, but that's a decision you made. And then if I look at the New Age, this one, app landing page. This is a single page, so much more like the agency, I assume.
So we learned exactly what you said. We are now looking at the modern business theme that was discussed also previously, recently. And there we focus first more on how we define the content, portfolio, and the services. And, we also are starting to use the flow part with the widgets.
Yeah. So regarding the widgets, I saw that you integrated them in the recipe, and that's good. Like the bookmark, the blog quote, the image widget, and so on. What I think we need to do at some point in the core themes is to provide a common file with common widgets that we can point to from recipes, or you can copy paste and include in your main recipes. This way, the most common widgets, we can have them with the flow part. Otherwise, you will have to copy paste it every time in all the recipes. We should just have to point to something and update them if we need. But yeah, and also ensure that all the themes we do, if they have multiple pages, we can have a flow page in the theme. This is something we found that wasn't working in the agency 2 weeks ago. So yeah, that's something we need to look into. Yeah, that's so Marco's saying that you try to use the same content model for both themes. Yeah, that's something we should not try to do. If we have a theme that is already done, let's make the content model for that. If we want to make switchable themes, let's work on the content model first and then make the themes based on that. Otherwise there is a mismatch between the model and the theme we want to display. We've had the issue with the blog theme, the clean blog theme, where at some point we had the subtitle or the subheader, I don't know how we call that, and then we removed it from the theme because we removed it from the model, but then it looked ugly, so we said, okay, let's make a template instead. This is the clean blog template, and we put back the subtitle in the model of the blog post. So mismatch between theme and the model. Okay, but that's good. That's very interesting. So my questions are about feedback from theme building. What was good? What was bad? How would you do things differently?
You can hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Well, like I said, first, it's a great learning experience. So we are thinking about this, and you're right. We should see if we have a theme, then that is leading, or if we already have a design, complete design, then that is leading. Otherwise, we should focus on the content model. There's some things that we find difficult to understand from the documentation, but as we go, we try to ask questions and raise issues. So
okay.
And now we are a little bit more advanced. Let's say we have now zones and layers in the modern business theme, which is also linked to the issue in the Orchard Core repo, and it's also open source. So it's also a call up for others to participate or provide feedback. And also thanks to Antoine Griffard for the help so far. First, so I can't say good or bad. First, it's also learning and trying to really understand how Orchard Core works. So, but so far so good.
Yeah, the idea is that every time you have a question and you don't know what to do, it should be in the documentation, or we should find an issue to add it to the documentation, which you did, which is fine. And yeah, that's good. So you made them in Liquid?
Yeah, we like Liquid because it's pretty noise free. Today we tried a bit with Razor, but we ran into issues where references were not found, so maybe we're doing it wrong. But with Liquid, it seems to be pretty fluent. We seem to be able to progress with that, so
okay,
that's why we chose that.
Good, thank you. Next theme that you are building? Or are you starting an actual website for a customer at some point?
At the moment, we're looking at the modern business theme.
Okay.
That was discussed also last time. You pointed out that
Yep.
it should be done, and there was an issue already in the repo. So I posted the link to a repo I created, and we're working on that now, focusing first more on the content and using a bit different approach with widgets and flow part like Antoine suggested.
Okay, I'll look at that. Issues, modern theme, this one. Yeah, and I used it on Friday. I will show you what I did if I have time. Okay, that's good. So it's still work in progress, and yeah, that's very good. Thank you very much and welcome to the project. What was the name of the CMS that I saw you commenting on Gitter, or what was the name?
Piranha CMS is one of the things I looked at.
Piranha CMS, yes, okay. You looked into that, yeah, I remember you, and then you went to Orchard Core. Good. Next. James, webhooks. You can start sharing anytime you want.
Okay. Share my screen.
Can you remind me the last contributions you did, the latest contribution you did before that? I can't remember. You did something. Entity framework? No, that's not you. That was Rastem.
No, I think it was just small fixes.
Okay. Documentation, right?
Nope.
Yes, that's it. Yeah, typos and everything. Thank you. Okay, and I can see. No, I can't see your screen. You need to share.
Can you see it now?
1 second. I think I'm the only one who can't see. I can see now. Okay, good. Thank you. Perfect.
Okay. Cool. Well, hey guys, my name's James. I'm a software developer in New Zealand. The company I work for has been using Orchard for several years, mostly for our financial software websites, just the modularity framework side of things. But now we're investigating Orchard Core, and I'm mostly interested in how we can use it as a decoupled CMS. So I'm very interested in the discussions coming up. So I want to see how we can sort of have it drive like a React.js website that's compiled with Gatsby, hosted on a CDN, and have the CMS also drive the content for our mobile apps and things like that.
Good.
So one part of that is having webhooks that can sort of trigger builds whenever content changes and push content out to a CDN. So I implemented a webhooks module, and I'll just demo that. So you guys probably know what webhooks are, but basically it's a way to call an external service when an event happens in the CMS. I'm going to demo integration with Discord, so I want to just maybe post to a channel when I publish an article in the CMS. So let's call it Discord post message to Okay, so we'll post a message to the general channel when we publish an article. Next step is to get the URL to post to. So for that, I've already created a webhook in Discord. So we can just go here and grab the URL. I know I'm going to need a post in order to post to this API, but I could have also selected different HTTP methods. I also added functionality for verifying the SSL certificate or not, if say if you're in development or something like that. And then there's a warning dialog so that the user understands the risks of disabling that validation. There's a secret field so that we can sign the webhook that's going out to the external service, so that they can validate on the external service that it's a trusted webhook. I added functionality to obviously select the events that trigger the webhook. So in this case, we just want the published article event, but there's functionality to trigger it for all events in the CMS or all events for a specific content type, or all created events. We'll just leave it with just the published event for now. There's functionality to pass in custom headers to the external service, so you could pass authentication headers, like basic auth, or maybe if the external service is using OAuth, you could pass a bearer token or something like that. There's a bunch of default headers that I pass just to help the external service identify the tenant and things like that. That's all documented in the docs. So there's things like the ID of the webhook, the name of the event that triggered it. For example, in this case, it's going to be article.published, the tenant name, and then the signature are the default ones. I also support sending the webhook as a form URL encoded format in case the external service doesn't support JSON. So that's just an option so that you're aware. Okay, back to creating the Discord webhook. So our final option is to customize the payload. Obviously, Discord isn't going to understand the default payload where we just post the JSON of the content item. So we're going to create a custom one. I created one earlier so that you don't have to sit and watch me type. So this JSON is basically what the Discord REST API expects when you're posting something to a channel. You can see the username of the message that's going to be posted, and then all sorts of other options like the avatar URL for the message sender and various other things. You can see it's using Liquid, so I'm pulling the title of the article that's being published and the URL and the type and things like that. Okay, so that's all done. Let me just double check everything looks good. Yep. So I'm going to save that. And you can see it here. So now, if we go here, you can see there's no messages. And now if I create a new article or just republish an existing one, we should get a message into the Discord channel. And you can see there's a notification immediately in this tab. So if we open that up, you can see it's posted the message with the content I specified in the webhook payload. And that has the URL and everything. So that's it. That's webhooks.
Beautiful. Thank you very much. And I will repeat the comment I made on the issue, on the PR you created, which is that I would love it to be a workflow activity. This way you will not have to code the different events, and we could use it for many more events and events that we haven't thought about so far. And we could even react to, for instance, Discord messages that will call into Orchard endpoints, that will trigger new webhooks to call into other services like, I don't know, Slack, or send back to Discord, or to react to Discord messages. Like if you call a bot from Discord, we could detect it, and yeah, that's the idea. And Workflow can do that already. So that would be very nice. But I like the idea.
Yeah, I think that'd be a really good idea.
I'm not sure how much experience you have with workflows, but you should look into that, I think, instead. I don't know what others think. Should it be a webhook module, or should it be webhook activities? And by the way, if we have webhook activities, you can still make a feature that will just let you create custom webhooks and just trigger the activities. So the logic is in the workflow activity. That would be a way to reuse the logic. What I like whenever you do something, it's super polished. Like you see all those things that are correctly organized, the documentation in the tooltip, so we can have an example of payload and everything. I love it. Everything is beautiful. And that's why I assume also you fix our documentation, the typos. because you like nice things to to be correct. Yeah,
I'd
but
love to make.
yes, it's very nice UI on the comments. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, instance.
Yeah, I'd love to make it part of workflows. I just want to, like, I think having it as a separate feature gives a really good user experience for sort of inexperienced users that may not want to dive into the complexity of workflows.
Yep.
So I think just sort of balancing that, like, I'd love it to be part of the workflows engine.
Yeah, so I totally get it, because it looks simple how you did that, and if you had to be in workflows, the discoverability would be awful if you don't know what workflow is and how it works, and oh, you can have activities and how do you find them. Here it's directly integrated, so maybe a solution is to have the two of them, because this way you have the feature that shows how to create simple webhooks, and maybe a webhook could actually, like this UI, could actually create a workflow instance, and that would work too.
Yeah, I think that would be a good solution. Just have the backend sort of be the workflow and things.
Yeah, when you want to create a simple thing to happen in a simple event, then you just make the UI for that. It just internally creates a workflow type, and this workflow type could also be hidden, like managed by this UI and not managed by the workflow UI. So you don't even show the workflow UI in this case. But yeah, that will work. That would be ideal, maybe.
Yeah, it's good feedback.
But
Thanks.
yeah, I'm sure Bertrand will agree that workflows is the way to do things in this case, to be able to reuse all the things you did, and to integrate it with more complex workflows. Like tomorrow, if I want a Discord message when someone creates an account on the site, or I don't know, on a scheduled event, like I want to do something with webhooks on a scheduled event, workflow can do that. But here you will have to again code it to do that things. That's the only issue.
I agree. There's going to end up being quite a bit of duplication. I'll just have to think about how to maintain this good user experience.
Yeah. This editor, this kind of editor, you can have it in the workflow activity editor, because it's just any other shape that we render. So you can have everything like this in an activity UI, in case you're afraid of that. Yeah, okay, thank you very much. Very good idea, very good implementation. And we could leave it. When I saw webhook, at first I thought it was the implementation of incoming webhooks, like well-known endpoints from different external services, like with the GitHub payload. When you receive a GitHub event, webhook, then you might also be able to, it can also be a custom activity in the workflow, by the way, a GitHub webhook activity inbound, and then there could be the GitHub outbound with different messages you can send to GitHub.
Cool, yeah, that's definitely the next step, I think. I mean, I was also thinking of adding webhook templates and things to common services, so that you don't have to like create the payload manually yourself.
Yeah. That's what the workflow activities have. There is an HTTP request activity, and you just paste in liquid the payload, and it can trigger anything. It's not dedicated to any specific webhook, but you can send a request that you forge by yourself. And there is the same thing inbound. There is a web response, so you can wait for a request on a specific endpoint and then react to that to do something. Read the payload and everything. Maybe you should look at it if you're not familiar with that. I urge you to look at it. You can ping me. I will show you.
Okay, sounds good.
Next. Michael. Are you still here? Michael is not here. Yes, he's here.
Hello?
Yep.
I'm here.
You're very far, so if you can come closer to your microphone, it will be great.
Yes, do you hear me now?
Same. Okay, start sharing the screen and talk. We'll see how it goes. But the closer from your microphone you are, the better. Oh.
Do you hear me?
Yeah?
I'm Michael. I love WorkChart, and I don't do websites, so I do it just for fun. I like all the concept.
That's good.
What I have done is, based on the OpenID client, I created a Facebook login module that will do login authenticate the Facebook users and map them with the local users. Okay, can I start?
Are you sharing your screen?
Yes.
When you say yes, you are doing it right now, or you think you're already sharing it because...
I thought I
Nope.
already shared.
You
I have to
try again. It's
no,
coming. Yep.
nothing.
Wait 1 second. Now I can see that you shared. Now it has to come to us. And we can all see that. Okay, good. Perfect. Setup screen.
Okay, let's create a postal website. Okay. Oh. I will log in and create a tenant that will be the... I create a tenant in order to show also if we would like to have the host as an OpenID server, so we will have multiple logins for the user. So let me create a tenant. Let's say okay, let's set up it. I use that email in order to automatically map the Facebook account when we log in. For some reason it's slow. We have to enable the Facebook module. Facebook login. So we have the settings, the core settings which request the app ID and the client secret, and the login settings which is the callback path. We have to create application. enable the login, get the client secret and type ID. The app secret. Okay, and now we can configure the callback where we will listen from Facebook login in order to authenticate the user. So let's go here. What we have done in the OpenID client is when we log in through Facebook, the system automatically maps the incoming email with the local email if the user exists. Otherwise, if we allow the users to register on the site, we create a local user and map the external login with the local user. What we have not done is to automatically set some roles if we would like. Otherwise, the user is authenticated but no permissions. Also, we don't take into account the confirmation of the email of the user when he logins with the external provider. I don't know if we should, because we trust the external provider, but this is the case. Okay, let me log out. Login with Facebook. We haven't set up yet, sorry. We haven't set up the login. The login, the virtual login, the Facebook login.
Okay, HPS is 5001. Okay.
I added this in order to. Want to start, we want the settings. Client was login, web was login, and for HTTPS we cannot disable this. That's why I added the HTTPS. This fold. Okay, we can change it. Okay, save changes. Sign in, that's Facebook. This should be the callback. wants to get the profile, etc., continue. So we link the account. And it wants our password in order to validate. You have successfully authenticated with Facebook. You already have an account with this mail. Enter the local account password in order to link the external login.
So it will match the user email. Interesting.
Yes, this is what we do with the OpenID client. Now, okay. I don't know why this. It should just link the user.
Maybe because you're in HTTP, and you should have done everything HTTPS.
Yes. Now I added the external login with the login user, so it will work because we have the registration. If I log out, it's okay.
So if the user doesn't exist in the system, it will create a new one.
Yes, if we have the allow register new users.
Okay.
But we don't check the email if the confirm email is also checked.
Okay.
Okay. So we could also add Twitter authentication or anything else, and give the user the choice to map external logins easily.
What do you mean by the options to map external logins? What kind of option is that? Because it has to create a local user.
Yes, it has to create a local user
because that's how Shortcore works. It needs a user.
Exactly. But creating just a module for Facebook and adding the Facebook login, we could also add the other Facebook plugins like share, etc., and have all the functionality in the module.
I see what you mean. Okay.
What we could also do is in a tenant to create the OpenID server, and then add the Facebook login and act as an identity gateway for the other tenants. So you don't have to set up multiple applications.
Oh, I see, and refer to the same tenant for all the other tenants.
Yes,
I see.
Just add the OpenID client.
Yep, this is something we have never demonstrated. Maybe you should show it to us next time.
Okay.
Because you wanted to do it now. I would like to show my demo also. And but yeah, this is something I'm not even sure anyone knows about except you and Kevin. So the fact that you can, but that would be interesting to see also. Yeah, that's another scenario. I asked Kevin to that at some point we need someone to demonstrate all the OpenID stuff we can do and token generation and everything. And we need a demo to do that and show the scenarios for the app developers that it enables, because it's crazy what we can do with Orchard Core right now, and what you did and Kevin on that, and nobody knows, or even Sergio helped starting a year ago. We definitely need to see it. Good. But thank you.
Okay.
Where are you from? You didn't say. Or did you?
Athens, Greece.
Okay. Yeah, the last name was helping, but I was not sure.
Petrinolis. Okay.
Thank you very much. Okay, so see you next week. Well, let's chat on Gitter. Thanks a lot for all you're doing. Thanks a lot. Yep, it could be on a Friday, correct. We could have a subject like this, yeah. And actually, that's what I asked Kevin. We should do it a live demo on a Friday. It might be Kevin, it might be Michael, it might be also, crap, what's his name? I Skyped him 2 weeks ago. What's his name? Don't remember. Oh my god. Fine. Okay. We are late. I just want to go back on what I did on Friday. This thing. So Friday I demoed the Decoupled CMS. So quick notes. I need to share my screen. Thank you. I'm like, I heard you. What does he? Must have forgotten something. Okay. So on Friday I showed the Decoupled CMS. What is a Decoupled CMS? Because I don't know who mentioned Decoupled. Yes, James mentioned that, but actually you are not talking about Decoupled CMS. You are talking about Headless CMS. Muting you, Antoine, because I can hear some weird noises. You were talking about Headless CMS. A standard CMS is when the CMS application is also rendering the front end directly. This is exactly what WordPress is doing. Okay, which means the same application is rendering the blog post and everything, and you can theme it. That's also what Orchard Core can do by default. When you set up the agency theme or the blog, the clean blog, then you get the website to edit the content and the website to render the content. This is the same website, the same web application. A headless CMS is when you only edit the content and you access the data using REST APIs. And then with that, you can create a static website calling the REST APIs. You can also call just the content and embed it into some mobile applications, whatever you want, using REST APIs. That's a headless CMS. We cut the head of the CMS by not being able to render anything for the website. You can just edit the content. And then there is a decoupled CMS. This is a mix of the two. So you can still edit the content using the CMS part, and you can render the website from the same web app, but the website you are rendering has been built by your own. You make all the pages that you will render. The CMS itself doesn't render anything, or is not coming with anything to render the content. So the idea is that in the case of Orchard Core, you can create in your web app some views and controllers, and the home page will be rendered by yourself. Displaying the blog post will be rendered by yourself also. So you create the routes that will point to your own controllers, your own views. And instead of using an API like Entity Framework to get the content, you use the CMS APIs like Querying API, Alias API, Autoroute API, all the APIs from Orchard to read the content. You use them instead of accessing the SQL database. That's the idea. And this way you are the owner of everything that is rendered, the routes, everything. This is your app. You just use the CMS content from APIs. And it happens that this website is rendered using the same web app, letting you manage the CMS. So Orchard Core can do all of this. You can render as a full CMS, standard CMS, as a headless one using the GraphQL or REST endpoints we have already, or a decoupled CMS, and then in this case you will create your own either modules or theme or directly into the web app, Razor pages or MVC page, whatever technology you want to use in ASP.NET Core, even middleware, static files, anything you want. Static files calling REST APIs, that's also fine, as you want. So let me show you the end result that we got into. I won't spend much time on that. Just the end result, because we recorded everything. And also the okay, that, and it should be running. No, I just built it, so I will run that. If it doesn't work, then I messed up, and I will stop demo here because I backed up the site, the content, and the page. Okay, so it works. It works. Oh, yes, it works. Oh, let me see if it works actually. Yes, it works. Okay, so this is a website we made based on the modern theme that we mentioned today multiple times. And the idea was to show some advanced content management even in the Decoupled CMS. So what I did is that I did everything in the, so this is not exactly what I did during Friday's demo, but I improved the demo from Friday. So in the end, we have this Author CMS web app that contains the application that we want to run, and it contains Razor pages. So the index page here, this is the home page. This is the home page here. And this home page will, so what we did is copy pasted the theme and we replaced the static content here from the content from the CMS. So we made a services content item that contains multiple services, and then we also reuse it there. Okay, so this content is the same as the home page. And also we, oh no, the link is wrong. So services here, this is the dynamic page, okay, where we get the content from the database, from the content management, and even the image from the same content item. And here what we did is an index Razor page. It's a Razor page where we inject the content manager, the alias manager, the query manager to be able to grab the content. And at some point we just say, get the content called services, which is the main services content item. And we go through all the content items in these services. And then we call a partial to render a service, which will be this template. Sorry, the services template, which is in the shared views. And this is standard MVC. And in this case, the model is a service, so we can access this title, part, title, or is HTML. And this is rendering that thing. Okay, this image is coming from the, we have this text, the list of our service, which is coming from the services subheading text, which is a custom field. We get the image from a field also on the services content item, and so on. So we just make Razor pages, grabbing the content from content APIs, and nothing more. And that's super simple actually to do. And the other, I think we reused something at some point. We made a query. Where is the file that we used? So we have index here, which gets the services content item. Oh yes, here, this case, the portfolio here, this is a query also. So on the home page, we have services, and the portfolio here is coming from a custom query. So we made a SQL query that we called portfolio, and that returns all the portfolio content items, and we get that. And then for each project, which is a content item, we just rendered the block to render the project, which is here. And we could have added an image and so on. So the idea was to show how to get a content item by its alias, which is very common. Which can be a list of other items like a blog post, a news channel, whatever, and a portfolio, which is the name for custom query from SQL, just to show another way to get content from the content management. And that's what we did. We also created a layout which has nothing with the shapes. It's just a standard layout from MVC with render body. And that's it. So this thing is just Razor pages, nothing from the theming engine. So anything that is coming here is not coming from a theme. It's just coming from Razor pages. It's much faster than when it's themed because there are less shapes to create. And also we can cache it better because there is no main controller that will load the content item. The loading of the content item can be done in place here. So we can cache this section. So it won't even load the content item again and again. We will reuse the same content. Yeah, so that's almost what we did. And there were issues. And the issues, I took notes and I created issues on GitHub. Some things to improve. We already improved something. So something we couldn't do was create new pages live or edit the changes. We had to rebuild every time. That was a huge pain, but it's already fixed. I worked with Jean-Thierry on Friday to fix that. It's already fixed. We have a PR ready, so that is nicer. So we can just create new pages and copy paste, and it will in dev only. It will take them into account. That will be super nice. The biggest issue I found, well, two big issues we found was that it was not easy to get to reuse the services we have in the Orchard Core helper. So in the Orchard Core helper, if I go to any theme, is that, let's say that, if I do, you see, at Orchard Core, this is available on all our views that are themable, all our shapes. This is a property coming from the base type, and we have access to many things, like current culture, also to query content. So if we do a correct using, we can query the content directly or get the alias items directly. So there are lots of helpers to get the content from that. And it would have been awesome to be able to use it in our decoupled thing. That will make so much sense. It's just that this thing is available in the Razor page class, which is a view actually, but not the Razor page.page, which is the actual Razor space page. So we have a base class that doesn't have this helper, so we need to fix it. That's the main issue I've had. So instead of seeing lots of injects to know the services, we will not require that. We could just say, in this case here, the idea was just to say Orchard Core dot get content by alias, and we just pass the alias, and we have the content. That's the idea. We have it. It's not just available in this base page. Or execute query and give the port for your query, and then we will have it. So it's just not available. That's sad. So I want to fix that. The other issue we had is for login. When we wanted to go in the admin, so this is our page. We don't have a theme. A theme has been chosen in the admin from the front end, but we are not using it. But at the point we wanted to log in, the login controller redirected us on a front end page to log in. And then it tried to find the theme, and it failed because there was no layout there was no layout shape. So it failed completely. So the issue we have with login is that the login can't be decoupled right now. The login is completely coupled to the front end. So we need to fix that by making, I think, the login on the back end. So when we go to a site like this and we go to /admin, the end result will be from the admin theme. So it's like, okay, we want to log into the admin. We show the admin an admin page to log in. The same thing as today, but instead of using the front end theme, we show the admin theme. And this way it's completely decoupled. And if we wanted to handle the logging from the front end for front end users, then we will make login pages and everything because it's completely decoupled. Okay, that would be the idea. And then for the standard way, we could also have a feature that will show the same login pages on the front end if we want to use the front end. So I will create an issue for that and explain all the possibilities. But the simplest way to do things right now is to have the login handled by the backend, and optionally with a feature to be handled by the front end. But that might be related to how we theme the login also, and that's another issue we have currently. So it was an interesting thing. And to the question, which is, will you share the YouTube video? I have it, but I think, I mentioned that to Gabor, I think I will redo the same demo once I have the APIs which are correct in the base page and the login which is only on the back end. This will be much more straightforward, much more interesting, and this will actually work. There were so many issues on the way we did that on Friday that I want to redo it. Maybe this Friday or the next. So I will keep the demo. I might share it, but I don't want it to be on YouTube for now because I want it to be better. It will be a much more demo than much more better experience than what we did on Friday. Yeah. Who was there on Friday from the list? Antoine was there. Jasmin, I think. I don't remember. Yeah. So if you have feedback, questions, just you can go. Feel free to share. 3 p.m. I don't know what it means, 3 p.m. Or maybe it was too late. It was 3 p.m. PST or your time, because for me it doesn't mean anything. We started at 11 a.m. and it lasted until, it took like 2 hours and a half or something like that, 2 hours, 2 hours and a half. Yeah. But I will redo the same thing with the same theme, but once we have the correct APIs and the logging issues fixed. And also the story that we don't have to rebuild the project every time, which was taking time and not very nice experience. And it's already fixed. We just didn't. It was just working with Razor pages. It was working with views, but not pages. So we'll fix that. I'm sorry for the ones who are waiting for the video, but I can share the link. That's fine. I can send it to you by Skype for those who wants to see it, and we'll publish on YouTube when it's better. Good. Okay, it's late. Thanks everyone for all the great demos, and see you Thursday for the triage, Friday for the next demo, which I don't know what it will be about, and next Tuesday for the next meeting. Bye bye.